Okay, we've got the manifold, intake manifolds off now, and I went ahead and pulled the rocker arm assembly off. So that had 4 bolts on it right in the top. These are all 3/4 and they're also head bolts. So we pulled those off, and the rocker arm assembly came completely off in one piece. Here it is here. Oh, and I won't miss a step here. I'll go back one thing. Before you pull this off, look for it goes this way. And some of these valves will be compressed. So you release these little guys here. And as you undo those, these arms will come up and they were loose. Once those were loose, this comes off, gives us access to the head.
Open them gently, a 1/4 turn at a time.
Yeah.
Not abruptly.
Just slowly undo that, and then I just went around just cracking back and forth evenly in the head bolts. I didn't want to leave one torqued and start from one end, so I just a tiny bit of a turn on each one until I got them all loose, and then I pulled them all out. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 7 outside, and then you've got the 4 that hold the rocker arm assembly down, and an additional 3 on this side. And they're all the same length except for the 4 that hold the rocker arm assembly down. They're longer, so I've got all those in order, but I won't be reusing those. I'm definitely going to buy new bolts now that those have been torqued and the head gasket's blown. I want new ones on there, so we'll be doing that. So the next step is to remove the head, and we've got the head loose. The head is bolted to this plate. There's 2 bolts in the back there that go right into the head. And this plate holds the air filter assembly on here that you saw me remove earlier. So it looks like the fuel tank, big tank back here, we just pumped it out. There's 2 bolts that go down into this plate down in here. I don't know if you can see. So the fuel tank's got to come out. So we're going to lift the fuel tank out, and then the head is going to come off with this plate attached to it. We can remove those 2 bolts to release this, and we'll have our head, and we can start inspecting what's going on inside our cylinders. Okay, so we got the head off here. So that plate right there has 2 5/8 bolts that come into the back, right there into the back of the head. So you got to drain your fuel tank. There's 2 little bolts that stick down, one like this, one on the other side, and they go into a metal bracket that comes along here. So you drain your fuel tank, take it out, and then, sorry, the head's right here, I took it off. There, 2 in there for that plate, and then 2 more 5/8 bolts go into there, and they're for that metal bracket. There's actually 2 pieces there. Anyway, and that's just what supports your fuel tank. So you get all those off. Okay, so here we are. We've got the head off. This is the rearmost cylinder, and you can see it doesn't look super good. That one's not too bad, and neither is that one. Compared to this one, it's quite rusty and pitted. Like I said, this machine is running really nice just a few days ago. So anyway, again, we look up in here into the cylinders. So I can see on the head gasket here, I don't know if this is just from pulling it apart. I'm just looking carefully at the metal ring all the way around.
Liquid here, so it must have poured out.
There's a lot of liquid here. This doesn't, obviously, I don't know. I don't think that's normal.
That wasn't in there, no.
I mean, once I pulled the head, all the goo could have eased in, but this is crazy. This one's like right underwater in here. That's deep. Anyway, and this is quite, can you feel the piston?
Yep, it's
there.
3/4 of an inch.
Okay, I can't even see the piston, but this is quite, I wiped on the cylinder wall there, but you can see there's quite a bit of corrosion, so I'm not thinking that just started in the last couple days, but it doesn't make sense because I guess it must if it's just surface rust, because the piston's obviously going up and down, or it was.
I try wiping it.
Yeah, give it a wipe, see what it looks like. Okay, so there we go. Cylinder in the back, full of fluid. Again, I'm not, maybe here a little bit. The head gasket doesn't look like the worst. I was kind of expecting to see a pretty noticeable blowout. Lift it up and off and take a look at the other side. It's got to come around that, yeah, right there. There it goes. Okay. I'll give this a wipe and another look in the next video, I guess, but I don't know what's going on. I just talked to the previous owner. So, previous owner said he had the machine for a little while. Head gasket went on him, so he replaced it. And then it went again shortly after. So he took the head off, took it in, had it Magnaflux pressure tested and machined, reinstalled it, and sold it to me. And the head, I haven't put a lot of hours on it, but the head gasket's gone. So we'll talk to a mechanic friend, and we're thinking that this turbo might be the culprit. He said he didn't know if the wastegates would be set up correctly. Not 100% sure what that means. I do know that these turbos add a lot of compression. This is not a stock turbo. It's a Roto Master. And then there's a decal inside here that must have come with it. That says API turbocharger care. Start idle for 5 minutes, and before shutdown idle for 3 minutes, which I've always done. But like I said, only had the machine for about 6 months, and it's just a little hobby farm here, so I don't use it a ton. I've moved a couple rocks, a little bit of dirt around, so haven't worked it very hard, and we've blown a third head gasket between me and the previous owner. So we're gonna look into removing this turbo, maybe, and going back to stock. That might be our problem. And of course I'm going to have my heavy duty mechanic friend come over once I get things sorted out or more diagnosed here and get this thing set up properly. I'm going to have the injectors looked over too for spray pattern and whatnot, and make sure that those are operating correctly. I know that that can be another source of loss of power, higher fuel consumption, which I'm not experiencing, but now's the time to get everything kind of checked out and cleaned up so we don't have more issues now that we're into it this far. Let me know what you think. Okay, there's the head gasket. I've just given it a little wipe. Just going around it slowly. All 3 piston rings look good to me, but I don't know what I'm looking at. There's bits like that. Is that a blown head gasket? I mean, sure, that's a cooling hole right to the cylinder. Or did that piece just get stuck to the head? Like, I know it did. If you look at the head, you're like, well, there's the piece right there. So, how do you tell? This head was machined before it went back on, less than a year ago. And this thing, to me, the rubber's out a little bit there, but I mean, you'd expect this thing to kind of crap out when you remove it. I'm not seeing any major blowouts. I was expecting like these metal rings to be like completely gone in the center. Again, on this side, you know, little bits of the black material has obviously been picked up. Again there. And maybe that's a blown head gasket. Hands in the way, sorry. And then back to the cylinders here. We just sprayed some rust inhibitor. This cylinder's smooth to touch. That's smooth. A little bit rough near the top, but smooth. Haven't rotated the motor yet, but this cylinder is rough. Like, it feels like sandpaper. And I don't know if that's just a little bit of rust that started, if I can wipe that out. I gave it a little bit of a wipe, and we got all the, it was definitely water in there. It was like full of water. I had like an inch after I turned the thing over, and I don't know. I mean, I had the injector out last night, but I'm under a tarp here. There's no way it just filled up with water. It hasn't rained. And the injectors were in until then. So where's this leak coming from? I'm not seeing anything major other than obviously rust. I'm thinking these rings are probably no good. The pistons have this little nick out of them. They've all got it. And another funny thing is, I don't know if you can see it. Where is it? This one says A on it, this one says A on it, and this one says C on it. You can see the C in there. You see that? Yeah, there's a little C embossed in it. And these other ones too have A on them. So I don't know why you have an AA and a C, but anyway.
Okay.
Okay, the shaft out the front here that goes to your hydraulic pump, you can rotate this by hand. And you can see all the cylinders going up and down. Kind of giving them all a wipe, and they don't look too bad. Everything flows. There's no debris in there. There's no cracks or breaks anywhere. I've inspected all the cylinders. The best that I can see, they don't look horrible. I've been taking this and going around all over. Can't see any light under here anywhere. Nothing's horrible. Of course, I'm gonna have to do a better job at checking that. And this cylinder is just as smooth as the other ones. There's a little bit of, I don't know, tiny bit of rough spots in there maybe still, but we've just given it a wipe, so I don't know what to think at this point. As far as I know, this doesn't look bad. There's nothing crazy that makes me think it's horrible. And like I showed you with the head gasket, I don't know about that either, and the head was machined, so curious as to what we're going to find out here. If we're going to have to get into a whole block tear down, this is going to get quite a bit more involved. And yeah, we'll see. Thanks for any info.